It's not just India that relies on imports from Russia. We already know that. But US's double standards on Russian imports were laid bare by President Putin. How much does the US rely on Russian uranium imports? President Putin has put that in numbers now. President Putin revealed that Russia remains the second largest uranium supplier to the US, providing about 25% of its nuclear fuel needs. In 2024, Russian uranium exports to the US were worth roughly $800 million. And Putin projected that revenues would climb to $1.2 billion in 2025. Putin clarified that Russia is not the biggest supplier overall. It's an American-European consortium that accounts for about 60% of US imports. But Putin noted that Moscow's role remains crucial. Despite sanctions in other sectors, uranium trade continues largely untouched, underlining the US's ongoing dependence on Russian energy resources to keep its nuclear power industry running. Despite rising geopolitical tensions and Washington's push to isolate Moscow, the United States continues to rely heavily on Russian uranium. The figures highlight a paradox in US policy. While seeking to curb Russia's global influence and urging allies to reduce reliance on its energy exports, Washington itself remains tied to Moscow for a significant portion of its own nuclear fuel supply. This dependency, Putin suggested, is unlikely to change quickly, given the scale of US demand and the challenges of finding immediate alternative sources. Putin also said it's easier said than done to force or pressurize the world to stop energy imports from Russia, warning that such a step would surely skyrocket energy prices globally.
It is impossible, but if we imagine excluding Russian producers and Russian traders, who supply a significant portion of the world's oil. If that were to happen, prices would skyrocket. Everything, oil price, would go over $100 instantly.
The Russian president also said that India would never allow any humiliation in front of anyone, especially when it comes to buckling under external pressure. The comment, of course, in the context of how the US is trying to tighten the screws on India with massive tariffs for buying Russian energy, even though America is closing its eyes to its own double standards and importing uranium from Russia.
If India stops buying our energy, damage will be inflicted upon them, like to $9 to $10 billion if they decline to buy energy from us. If not, high duties will be imposed on them, and once again, damage will be there. Well, the same amount of damage. And why then decline to buy Russian energy to actually sustain political risks? And the Indian people will look at what decisions are made by the political leadership and never accept any humiliation before anyone. And also I know Prime Minister Modi, he will never take any steps of the kind.
For more such stories, subscribe to SNG News, hit the like button and follow for more news updates.